Hello, thank you for joining me for this flexibility flow. So we'll start seated. Basically this whole flow is almost all seated and it just flows really nicely from one move to the next. There's not a lot of like up and down. So it's just a really easy to do flow. While we sit here cross-legged, I'll just tell you a little bit about this practice. So it was nothing that I planned intending to share, but I noticed, sometimes depending on my schedule, I wasn't getting time to stretch. I wasn't stretching at all. And if a yoga class didn't fit in my schedule, I wasn't really, stretching or working on my flexibility. And by working on, I mean both maintaining and increasing. So I started just hopping onto the mat once a week and going through this flow, and it just sort of evolved because it just easily moves from one move to the next. You do one side, you do the next, and I felt like it really maintains my flexibility but also works on increasing it, which is really great because it's not like a super intense everyday thing, and it moves so quickly and you're done in half an hour, under half an hour. So that's a little bit about it. Let's get started. Okay, so I'll kind of face the sides so that you can more easily mirror the sides. So we're gonna start in a downward dog. So just coming up into your downward dog and pressing away. And of course, as you can paddle out the feet here, press away from the floor. Sometimes I even like going up on the balls of my feet, getting a nice little foot stretch, feels really nice. And then we're going to lift up the right foot, and just as ever high as it goes for you is fine, obviously. And then we'll step it between the hands. Think of kind of caving upward and placing it. Yeah, one nice thing about stretching and open your right arm is that there's not, generally speaking, like an advanced level, a beginner level. You can take any stretch, just about any stretch at just about any level. So yeah, think of reaching outward, like rather than leaning into the hand, reaching outward, reaching upward using your leg and not just the hand to support yourself. And then we'll go ahead and we'll drop that left leg down and we'll bring the hands down inside the foot. So you can stay up here on the hands if this is where you're feeling that stretch, or you can take it a little deeper, either one. And breathing into the stretch. I believe this is called lizard pose. You can also roll a little onto the edge of that foot. I like to move through just about all these stretches to feel where you're getting the stretch. And we are going to hold them for a while. Like that's really what's taking up most of this time, is taking some time in the stretches, because that's where you get the benefit really. So it might be considered a yin practice, if you will, kind of surrendering in but staying active. And we'll push off the hands and we'll stay right where we are, but we'll just shift back. So this isn't all necessarily yoga. It's kind of, obviously some of the moves are yoga moves, some of them are just stretches, but really the intent here is flexibility. Feeling nice and limber, feeling energized in the body by getting that flow. So here it's all about posture. So if you're rounding out, right, you're not really going to get the stretch. So better to be up higher and kind of think of like a flat back, lifting up with the chest. And maybe you're feeling something in that back hip and the left hip. Go ahead, point the toe. I actually like to do both pointing and flexing here. And I like to kind of sit, almost draw that left hip back and down a little. Like see where you feel the stretch. Because different stretches, I find they can hit different areas. They say every day is different. Well, every day is different because every previous day is different currently. If you were sitting in a car all day, the day before, if you were sitting at a desk, if you did a big workout, depending what you were doing, different muscles might be tight, different muscles might be warm. Then we're gonna kind of come up. Now you can come to a modified split or you can come to a full split. Either one. So modified, you would just bend this back leg like so, or you can just keep it under you like so. Okay. I like to slide right down in my split, or you can be up here. You can use blocks to support or get a little upper body workout and use your arm strength to help support the split. And again, if we want to stay here for a little bit, I find with the split, you know, even if it's not too bad to get into, holding it for a while, you start to feel, oh wow, my muscles are doing something. You know, they're maybe stretching a little deeper, maybe working on releasing something. So yeah. And you know, again, kind of looking into posture, looking into where you might want to make little shifts. Squaring the hips up a little, making sure that foot is right in line. Just whatever helps that stretch. Yeah, this is just great. I promise you're gonna feel really nice at the end of the stretch. I always do, and I feel better at the end of the week as well. So just a couple more breaths here in our splits. Alright, so now that front leg, the right leg, if you're on the same pose, we're gonna draw that in for pigeon pose. So the back leg is straight back. This can be tucked in or almost to a 90-degree angle, depending flexibility. And lift up and take your time coming down to wherever you're getting a stretch. I like to hold it right here for a while. I feel like I get a really deep stretch. So I wait right here until I feel that stretch kind of release, the muscles release, before I go into a deeper fold. And sitting into that. I feel it back here underneath. But in this one, it might vary, you know, depending again which areas are tight on you. Exhale, and we'll just surrender into the pigeon. And I know I can have a tendency to roll into the side. It's really important to try to not do that, to stay really square. So that's what I'm working on. Nice stretch. Maybe you're feeling a little more release about now. All right, I think we're ready to gently, meaning gradually, come out of that. So we're here in this position. We're just gonna bring up that left foot, and you can hook your hand behind the foot or elbow, and you're just gonna get a nice quad stretch here. Sorry, I'm at kind of a funny angle. I'm trying to do the side so that you can mirror me. If you like, you can even reach up your right arm, grab the hands together, because this then opens up the shoulder in addition for a nice shoulder opening. So this is really nice. Stretching that quad. Maybe you want to just focus on the quad, on drawing that foot in as much as you can. Yeah, this is a nice intense stretch I'm getting now by really focusing on the quad. Also, because I have my elbow open, I'm still getting that shoulder stretch, but you can be here. You can be wherever you are is where you are. The main thing is that you're having that posture to give yourself a stretch and where you want the stretch. So we always have that finish line mentality, like you know, we want to get to that point. So if it's a point of like touching our hands to the floor, you know, reaching one hand behind to the other, there's a satisfaction in that. So I totally get that. But the real reward is if we're increasing the flexibility where we want it, not some other random place. So yeah, just here we should be getting the quad and possibly shoulder. All right, I'm gonna release that, and guess what? We are just about done on this side. We're gonna take that left leg, swing it around to the front, and we're sitting in this position, kind of, I guess you might call it piked position, and we'll take a little side stretch here. So we'll reach up that arm and reach over, touching the foot. So I'm on my right arm, left leg here. So if you started lifting the right leg up at the beginning, you want to be stretching your left leg here and reaching with your right arm. This might not be quite mirroring right at this time. Just holding that nice side stretch. Again, maybe you're up here more. In fact, I may be feeling that a little more here. And grabbing the foot. Reaching for that wall. Right, we're going to use the core to come up. All right, now, still in the same position in the legs, we're just going to come forward. Okay, so I'm going to back it up a little because I like for this one to keep both sit bones planted. So that's what I'm going to try to do. To the hips with this one. Alright, we're going to come on up. Guess what? We're ready to do the other side. So back into forward fold. We're going to go there gradually. First, we're going to come up on the balls of the feet. Now, this is going to be a nice little stretch in the calves, a little bit in the feet. Oh, so nice. Yeah, this really hits a lot of the areas. Very effective stretching flow. Okay, now before going into downward dog, we're going to just straighten the legs and come into a forward fold. Okay, let's take this forward fold for a minute. Okay, walk the hands forward, downward dog. Pushing away actively, and we're gonna lift up that left leg. Taking a moment here, getting a nice stretch, possibly through the standing leg. Getting nice and square. Draw the foot and please in between the hands. Beautiful. All right, so here we are in kind of a runner's lunge. We're gonna open up left arm. Again, I'm trying to use the strength in my legs, not just sitting into my hand, right? Maybe some wrist circles while you're here. All right, beautiful. We'll place that knee down and we'll come into this little lizard pose. So again, you can stay up here, maybe scooch the foot out just a bit. Come down to the elbows. Almost there. Just a couple more breaths. By the way, I'm not on a yoga mat, but perhaps you are, or you're on a grippy floor, as long as you're comfortable. That's all that matters. Okay, I'm gonna push up, comfortable and safe. They usually go hand in hand, right? Okay, maybe adjust a little so you're nice and on those kind of railroad tracks. Not a tight rope, right? Foot shouldn't be in front of the knee. It should be directly in front of its own hip. Okay, and I like to kind of pull back a little, get more traction, I feel, in the hamstring there. And then again, we'll go between maybe pointing, maybe bending down into it a little, maybe even bringing the hands on the inside. Some points. It's your stretch, so whatever you benefit from here. let's slide down now into that split. So maybe you're on yoga blocks, maybe you're holding that split a little higher, or maybe you're in a modified split. In any case, wherever you're at, I'm going to just hold it here. Just chilling, right? Now, if you're right side dominant and you started with me on your right side, you may notice this side feeling a little easier than the other side. Some of you, of course, will feel the opposite. Very likely if you're left side dominant, left side might be a little tighter for obvious reasons. So it can be nice when you're doing either, it could be a strengthening thing like lunges, squats. Well, squats would be even, right? But lunges, where you're working one side more than the other at times. Sometimes it's nice to start with the dominant side, either the less flexible or less strong side. So in the case of strengthening, your less dominant side, your weaker side. So then after you're a little fatigued, it's kind of like, hey, this is feeling a little better. It's a little bit of encouragement. All right, beautiful. We're gonna draw that left leg into that angle, probably somewhere between 45 and 90-degree angle. Make sure that back leg is straight. I like to lift out of the sky. Something very intense about pigeon, that's for sure. Fold into it. But I think it's needed. You can really feel like a nice release coming out of it. And you can hold some tension in the hips that releasing it just feels very cathartic. Very, very cathartic. And maybe just folding into that. Nice deep breaths. Rather than rounding up, lifting upward with the chest on the crown of the head, walking it in, so nice. And now we can take that quad stretch. Okay, so in this case, it's switching over to right side. Again, on me, that tends to be a little bit tighter. So I'm definitely feeling the stretch more on this side, but I'm gonna try to do what I did on the other side. So it's good to get the body even. So we'll start with the bind here. Possibility. Oh, if you really, really want to go for it, you can. Sometimes I'll do this reach overhead with both hands, try to grab it and then grab the other side. You can do that guide too if you like. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to keep it a little more basic. I'm going to really make sure it's corrected and get into that shoulder as well with the quad. Just nice, just taking the stretch for you where you need it. I like even getting maybe a little bit of a nice toe foot stretch here. So the feet take a lot, like we're always on our feet. It's really nice to give them a nice little love. And look at that, we have come to the end of both sides. So we just have a few more things to finish up. We're gonna pivot around, do our side stretch. So this side you can see I'm far less flexible on my left side than my right, so I'm not reaching the foot. Now I could, but look, I'm rounding forward. So we don't want that. Again, I could reach that finish line of reaching an end point, but I'm not getting the stretch. So I'm gonna stay up here and give my side body the benefit of keeping the correct posture and not rounding forward. So yeah, we don't want to round forward. We want to stay nice and stacked. And very active here. Maybe even helping the arm a little. Something you can do. Feel that stretch travel down the whole side body. So lovely. Okay, we'll take the little stretch over now and bring it forward if you like. And then we'll bring it on up. Beautiful, so we did both sides of the body, lots of benefits, lots of muscles. We're just gonna take a couple more things to finish this off. Now, if you want to skip this last bit, you can, because we really got a nice stretch both sides of the body. But if you want to add on just this last little section, we'll get a few more stretches in a couple other areas. We'll get the inner thighs, the shoulders a little more, and the spine, okay? So we'll start with forward fold. Again, keeping that back straight and just taking the stretch where it is comfortable and beneficial for you. I like to not let my feet flop forward, but try to keep them up. And you want a nice flat spine. So the reason I'm touching with my chin instead of my forehead is because I don't want to round out. So I'm trying to stay flat, but you might be up here, but you don't want to be here is the idea, right? You want to be lifted. Nice, I'm proud of yourself that you're almost done with this nice stretch today. Gonna have you feel great for the rest of the day. Let's go ahead and walk that up. We were there for a nice little chunk of time. I'm gonna scooch back because now we're gonna attempt the center splits. I don't always make this over on my first try, but here's what I try to do. I try to lift up. Oh, didn't quite make it. There we go. And walk myself over. And just kind of see where I get in this center split. Okay, and release back. Draw the legs in gently. I like to give a little floor shimmy here. Beautiful. Okay, now what we're going to do is again bring the feet underneath us and come into forward fold. Right here on the balls of the feet. Nice little calf stretch. Okay, so here is a spine stretch for you. Now, feel free to really take this one where it is best for you. So, what you can do is you can stay right here without bringing the hands back. There are several levels to this, but the idea is to lift, especially the upper spine, not so much the lower, but the upper back. So you can be right here with your hands on your hips and just lifting as if you're, what do they call that? Sunbathing. They call us sun worshippers, right? Lifting your heart to the sun. Okay. And if you can go a little deeper, so please stay there. If not, if you can go a little deeper, you can reach your hands to the heels. And I'm really lifting my chest, my heart forward, getting a nice stretch in the shoulders. Okay, and then we'll come to forward fold, child pose. Release the spine. Coming back up, you can do whatever you just did. If you feel like comfortable taking a little further, you can gradually, first to the heels, then to the inside of the feet. Okay, and coming on up, and then please don't do this as a first attempt if you haven't worked on this guy, but if you do have a flexible spine and you want to go up and over into a bridge, then there's that option as well. Otherwise, do whatever you just did the last round. Otherwise, here we go, up and over. But first, really squeezing the glutes, tucking low belly, because the idea is not to dump into our spine, it's to completely support it. And we're actually not hinging at the spine. No, we're not hinging, we're lifting up and over, okay? So coming up and over. And popping right out of that one pretty quick. Child's pose again. Okay, walking it up. Now this is the stretch that feels like a nice little icing on the cake, kind of like relaxing to do. We'll come to standing. Okay, and we'll reach up and over. Now, just taking my wrist in my hand, I can take a little side stretch. Another wrist, other hand, take a little side stretch. And then this one's so nice, so you'll hold your hands behind your back, interlacing the fingers. Take a forward fold, and let gravity bring those arms forward. So nice on the shoulders. And you can do a little adjusting, looking side to side to possibly get a little deeper in the stretch. All right, we're gonna release that plie and roll all the way up, rolling the shoulders back. So you can stay standing. I'm gonna sit down for a moment just to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining me for a wonderful half hour of stretching. I hope we both go into our day feeling great. Feel free to join me for the stretch whenever it calls to you. Make time for stretching, for your exercise, for your dance and expression. Like I said, it's just a really nice flow that goes one side to the other, one move to the next. Very simple and manageable to do just about anywhere. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please feel free to let me know your feedback. I'd love to know what you thought of it, how you feel after doing this flow, and have a wonderful day. Bye.